Hello there, and welcome to another episode, if you will, of North Node, South Node. My name is Joan Porte, and I am a karmic astrologer, and I have done some work in the past. How do you move this? That's right. Hi, and welcome to another edition of my look into the South Node and North Node. My name is Joan Porte, and I'm a karmic astrologer. And a few months ago, I did a program on the South Node, what to keep and what to toss away. And now we are going to concentrate on the North Node. And the North Node is what we want to embrace astrologically, because the North Node is the best map, the best harbinger we have for how we are to get the most out of this life. I don't believe astrology is something that says you are this because your chart says this and you have no place to move in that. We have free will. We have the chance to grow or choose not to grow, right? We could remain stagnant if we wish. But this map, this roadmap kind of tells us where we will get the most out of life. And for that, I always look to the North Node. So let's just review a little bit. As I said, I'm an evolutionary or karmic astrologer. I've been studying astrology for many years. I have been working strictly with evolutionary astrology for about the past 15 years. And when I get a chart from someone, I look at it as a roadmap. Like, what do we need to do in order to get the most out of it? Right? There's many ways to get to a goal, right? When you get in your car, there's many ways to get where you want to go in most cases, but you want the most direct, the most beneficial, the path that has the least bumps and the mountains on it, right? You want to get there as efficiently as possible. And that's what I envision myself as, sort of this map maker. I have taken soul sign evolutionary classes. I have several classes in ancient and medieval astrology, which I find absolutely fascinating, and I hope to do something on in the future. Now, these charts, these maps, right, are fingerprints. Our souls record sort of the fingerprints of time. So locked into our subconscious are these karmic memories. So what I do when I get a chart is I look at the past, look at where the person's coming from, and that was the topic of the South Node discussion. The South Node indicates our karmic past, what types of lives we led, what types of energies we had in those lifetimes. How did we respond to things? The South Node will also tell you a good deal about your current personality, because it's a subconscious memory of how we were before, right? How we reacted to things. And we find a lot of blockages, a lot of things that people are not even aware of. I don't know why I do what I do, right? Because it's sort of locked in there. So by exploring the South Node, which, as I said, we did in the past video, we now sort of know the good, the bad, what we brought in for benefit, what we have to sort of work around. And by doing that, I show my clients this path that is hopefully the most fulfilled and satisfied, productive, how they can be their true selves. And I say, look, I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I'm not here to dispense that. There are many people out there who are healers. I am the map reader. And I do it without, what I call the woo-woo. I've told this story before, but one of the first charts I had done years ago, I got a cassette tape to tell you how long ago it was. And it was almost an hour and a half of this woman using terms and words that I don't even use now. And it was like more to show me how much she knew about astrology. And I was like, you're not telling me anything about me. So I tried to keep it in simple language without all the fancy words. In fact, I do have something up on YouTube, which is demystifying astrology, plain speaking. So as I said, we have this north and south node as the planets go around the ecliptic. As it says here, as the moon revolves around the sun, it too crosses the ecliptic. And those points where it crosses the ecliptic are the north and south node. And the south is the past. The north is sort of our northern star, right? It's our guiding star. Okay, so the location of these nodes at the time of your birth indicates your karmic blueprint, if you will, this path that we're talking about. So the south node holds the knowledge. It's not bad. You know, some people say to me, oh, there must be something wrong. There's something bad about my south node. Nah, there's nothing bad about a south node. We all have one. The problem is when we get stuck in it, when we keep saying, I'm not changing, I'm going to respond to this life just like I did my other lives, I'm not going to evolve, I'm not going to grow, I'm not going to do this, that, the other thing. Because why bother, right? We're not here to go back and relive the same situations, reacting the same way, right? We're here to grow. And, you know, if you're going to go through all the hassle of being reborn and living in life and doing all of that stuff, well, then for goodness sakes, you might as well get the most out of it, right? So the North Node, by moving into it, by embodying the elements of that sign, you kind of really can ignite the passion and the purpose of life. You say, oh, okay, this is it. I got it. So if your North Node is in Aries, right? That means in the past life you were a Libra, right? When I say you were Libra, I don't necessarily mean your sun sign was in Libra or your rising sign was in Libra. I'm saying you are working out in this incarnation a lot of Libran energy, right, from the past. So what is the North Node in Aries? What is Aries? Aries is ruled by Mars. It's, you know, men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing. Mars and Aries knows the power of me. Now, one thing about your North Node, you will never exhibit the negative traits of your North Node. So for instance, if your South Node is in Aries, you're a really bad, stuck in your South Node Aries person, you know, you could easily be a road rager. You could be, you know, the bossiest, most self-centered, do this my way or the highway, nobody changes my rules. I mean, think of the archetype of Aries and Mars, the god of war, the archetypal masculine, you know, Western masculine energy. I lead, you follow, I'm the boss, right? But if you're going to a North Node in Aries, you're not going to get the negatives because you're trying to learn the positive qualities, the power of me, right? I play a role in my life. Self-authority, self-direction, right? The idea of personal freedom. I can decide things for me. So you are learning this energy of Mars. Now, what you're leaving behind, right? You're coming from Libra. Libra's over here. Mars has to be on the other side. South Node Libra, North Node Mars. What you're leaving behind are the negative traits of Libra, which are codependence. You are actually moving on an axis of we, right? Everything is about the other person. Libra is an air sign, so they just get lost totally in the social circle that they're in, right? This constant need for approval. What did this person think? Do I look good enough? Am I good enough? Da-da-da-da. You know, this lack of self-control, lack of self-authority, and what I call negative socialization, meaning hanging with people because you need their approval, hanging with people because they are telling you, oh, you're acceptable, you know, not necessarily hanging with people who boost your confidence as opposed to people who accept you, people who are, you're constantly seeking approval. It's hard for you to just let your own freak flag fly kind of thing, because it's all about them. Who am I unless you tell me who I am? Am I someone you approve of? Well, I don't know, because I'm not good unless you approve of me. So someone deeply stuck in Libra is all about the other person, all about needing this acceptance. But you're going to Aries. And again, where this sign is by house placement, where this is by the ruler. I mean, when you're doing a chart interpretation, you have to take all of that into account. But generally what I'm looking for is I see someone going towards Aries is I'm like, this is someone who has to know self-direction, self-authority, self-control in a way. All right, I'm sorry you don't like what I just did or said. I'm sorry you don't like my dress. I'm sorry you don't like, but I'm fine with it. I'm good. Okay, don't need that approval. So this is a chart, and I've thrown some famous people in, and I will put their names on it, and I have thrown in some personal charts that obviously I will not put the person's name up, but I entitled this, What Will They Think? Because this is a person who has Libra 1, right? If you look over in the first house, the south node is the cup facing up. Think of it as holding that information. Libra 1, and then of course their north node is Aries 7. So if you've lived an existence of Libra 1, particularly with Venus, the ruler of Libra, up in the 10th house, and in Cancer, but that's a whole nother story. This is someone who is living life for all the world to see in their past lives. This is someone, first house Libra, your first house is your personality, right? That's where they're holding this Libra. So everyone, please accept me. Everyone, please love me. Everyone, am I okay? Am I doing okay? This codependence, this I can help you, I'll be there for you, will you love me now, kind of, atypical codependence. Venus is up in 10, which is the house of your career, your lifestyle. So this is a person who throws themselves, because it's in Cancer, the nurturing mommy sign, into taking care of everybody, right? And constantly seeking their approval in the past life. Well, where are they going now? Well, they're going to Aries 7. How do I say, this is me, and I put myself in the social circle, confident that, this is who I am. You may disapprove, you may approve, that's all fine, but it doesn't affect me. My blinders are on, okay? This is not going to be an easy task for this person. Their Mars, if you look down in the 4th house, is in Capricorn, which is very strong, but it's retrograded. There's a karmic pause. It's in the house of home roots mother. So there's a family connection there. So as this plays out, and the fact that there's a retrograded Pluto next to the node, meaning this person has had the opportunity in the past to do this, but is just too stuck to change. This is someone who really has to put the blinders on in this lifetime and say, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to put myself in society as me, and I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with me. This learning of self-authority and self-containment. Now, the next sign is Taurus. So if you're coming into a Taurus North Node ruled by Venus, what you are learning in this lifetime is to be artistic. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to take, a fancy hat and a beret and go sit in a Parisian cafe. Artistic means what's artistic to you. My sense of style, right? I've had people with North Node and Taurus never picked up a paintbrush or, wrote a sonnet or anything, but they're like, I get it. It's how do I feel comfortable expressing the artistry we all have inside? I'm like, yes. Now, it could be that you also have some great artistic talent, but it's not necessary. It's a broad term, artistic. Practical. Taurus vibrates to the second house, right? Taurus is the sturdy bull, very earthy sign, very, feeling, right? So that's why the third thing is tactile. Right? I got my feet on the ground. I got my head down. I know what I'm doing. I'm practical. I'm tactical. Oh, I really kind of like this physical existence. Oh, this feels soft. This feels nice. Creative. And again, not in the creative sense of, a great artiste, but finding my personal flair, finding my abode. They're coming basically into being grounded. Taurus is one of the earthiest. I think it's the earthiest of earth signs. That's up to interpretation. But it's the sign of, hey, I'm here on earth. It's very physical. It's pretty linear. I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to eat well and love my surroundings. And even if I'm not the richest person in the world, I'm going to have a nice home that reflects me, that I can feel comfortable. And I'm very physical. Why am I stressing the physical? Well, if you have a Taurus North, you're coming from Scorpio South. Scorpios don't want to be grounded, right? Scorpio vibrates to the 8th house. Death, dying, rebirth, life and death issues, the crossing over to the other side. So this is an existence of power, of drama, of even, I've seen many Scorpio, of challenging life, because it's the sign of life and death, right? Birth and death. And so Scorpio is coming in like, I don't care about the physical. I want to know about mystical. I want to go commune with the ancestors, which is all fine, except that's not your role in this lifetime. Scorpios come in with a nose for the fight of life, the drama, right? I want to challenge death. I want to be passionate and dramatic, and I want to, have this big flair, and I don't want to have a house with a picket fence and eat good food. That's boring, right? I could even be, as I say here, nihilistic, right? I am detached from this life stuff. I'm working on these big issues. And I have seen many a Scorpio South Node person actually seeking not necessarily a fight, although they don't back away from it. Remember, Mars used to rule Scorpio until we knew about Pluto. But looking for drama, I know a Scorpio South Node, several of them, who have to be in their kids' lives, right? These are Scorpio in the 4th and 5th house, mother and children. Their kids are 35 years old, but they're still there just waiting for something dramatic so they could swoop in and be part of the drama, instead of saying, I raise my kids. Oh, look it, I can, make the house nice, right? I can start living a very nice existence and get away from the fight and the passion. So Scorpio South, those are the things you have to watch for. And I use here Coco Chanel. Now you see that she has South Node Scorpio up in 10. So her past life was someone who lived on the world stage. 10th house is government, career, lifestyle, but in some kind of a passionate you know, battling type of, again, I don't want to limit it, but someone who was maybe involved in like big government, big business, whatever that passed for in the lives that they live, someone who is in the fight of life. And she comes in here, Taurus 4. Well, she did have a very dramatic childhood that she pretty much had to reinvent herself. Scorpio, death, dying, rebirth. But what did she do? She became the harbinger of beauty, of grace, of fashion, right? You still wear a Chanel suit. And look where Venus, the ruler of her North Node, it's in the 8th house. It's in the Scorpio house. So she said, I'm going to use this energy. She has her son there too, to reinvent myself, to push away from this rather dramatic childhood that I had. And then I'm going to be the symbol of beauty, grace, and all those things that, you don't think of Coco Chanel now as having this horrible childhood unless you read about it. What you think about is her Chanel suit. So that was, to me, a beautiful interpretation. Again, every Taurus North Node is not Coco Chanel, but that's sort of the, gives you the picture. Now, our third sign, Gemini, ruled by Mercury. If you're going toward Gemini, the things you need to enhance are your communication skills, your ability to receive and give information. You're going into a stage of being curious about the world, intellectually curious. You want to be versatile. You want to get information from all sources. You want to sort of break out of this almost fundamentalist idea of this is what I know, this is all that I need to know, this is what's good to know. I kind of know everything. You're needing to be open to experiences, open to new knowledge, open to new paths, open to, new ways of thinking and doing things and gaining that knowledge, right? Think of the Gemini twins, right? Receiving that information, going in many directions, opening, because where you're coming from is Sagittarius. And you're leaving behind the negatives of Sag, which can be dogmatism. I got this. I know this, right? And you see in caps, the reliance on the power of, I know it already. I got this, right? I believe this. I have spent lifetime after lifetime after lifetime studying all this information. So I know it. And I don't need to know any more. This is why a negative Sag will lead to these fundamentalist, dogmatic concepts. I don't need to grow. I know more than you. You cannot teach me anything, particularly if you are not my intellectual equal. So I'm not going to learn from someone who has good old common horse sense, right? No. So you got to come down off your ivory tower of knowledge if you are Sagittarius. Now, I will say, if you look here, Trump's South Node is Sag 4. Everybody says, why does he always have his family all around him? 4th house South Node. 4th house is home roots mother. Who I am at my core. He's got the moon, which loves to be in the 4th house. He's emotionally tied to this Sagittarian energy. I know more than the generals, right? I am the best. I know, I picked the best, right? He listens to no one, right? He does exactly what he wishes to do and think and say. Sag, South Node in the 4th house. The sadness of it all, if you will, and that's probably not a good term, but the sadness is that with Gemini 10 and that Gemini, that Mercury in the 11th house, the house of coming together for a social cause, he had the ability in this lifetime to leave that dogmatism behind and be someone who does reach out and does learn and does open up. What can I say? Now, if your North Node is in Cancer, ruled by the moon, your learning curve in this lifetime is to develop that nurturing nature. Develop the executive ability that sort of lets you to take care of people, but understand, like, I'm not here to say, I'm the boss and you do what I say. I'm here to say, okay, how do we make this work? Right? How do we make the best team? The need to learn emotional maturity, right? I am in touch with my emotions. I react to them in a positive way. A sense of empathy. Remember, Cancer is ruled by the moon. What you have to do is let go of your fear of feeling. It's okay to feel, right? It's okay to lead with the emotions. It's okay to show empathy and caring. And that's because you're coming from Capricorn. Now, Capricorn, this is sort of the mommy-daddy axis, with Cancer being the mommy, the moon energy, and Capricorn ruled by Saturn, linear space and time, right? Saturn with the rings around it. Saturn says, pardon me, you do what you have to do. Saturn is that kind of dot your I's, cross your T's, you know, eat your broccoli kind of sign. So, excuse me, what you're leaving behind here is that need to be the big daddy, to carry the burden for everybody. Also, you know, there can be a sense of a lack of humor. Why do I need to get to work, right? We don't have time for frivolity. This need to have financial security. Right? I call Capricorn people the shoulders. I should all over myself, because this constant fear that you're never living up. I should do this. I should do that. I have to listen. It's like having, you know, daddy and all the teachers from first grade in your head, knowing you could do better. You could do better. You did that? Okay, fine, but go do better. So this demand of authority, being under the thumb of authority, being too dour, too restrictive, too, I'm not dealing with my emotions, so I have to carry the load, right? And I am never good enough. You know, daddy is never proud of me, that kind of thing. Now, if you're going to Leo, which is the fifth sign, your North Node is in Leo, ruled by the sun. What you're learning in this lifetime is vitality, personal vitality. What do you mean by vitality? Vitality meaning a joy of life, a sense of fun, a sense of I can experience this. I can experience life, a courage to stand out, to put yourself out there, to take the lead, to be in the spotlight, right? Not always hiding and shirking. Again, this sense of creativity, and like I used artistic sense with Taurus, it's a sense of your personal flair, saying, I'm putting my stamp on my life. This heart-based, right? Because Leo, sun, rules the heart area. Leo, the lion, right? Coeur de Lion. Knowing your heart, living heart-based life, saying, oh, this is my authentic heart-based life. This is my authentic sense of myself. Because what you're coming from is Aquarius. And the negatives of Aquarius, what you need to leave behind, is this detachment. I don't want to stand out. I want to shrink back here where nobody can see me. I want to blend in. I really don't want to get too close to anybody. I just want to stay in my little box here. This hiding in plain sight, this living in your head. Aquarians are very theoretical, very smart, but very, very professorial in a sense. And you know, I put up President Obama's here because people say, why doesn't he feel like Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton, felt a lot of things, but he didn't have that I feel your pain. Well, no, he's Aquarius rising. He has Aquarius south node in the first house. So for the everybody's saying, well, he's a sun in Leo. His sun is in Leo, just like Bill Clinton's. Well, that's the limitations of sun sign. He is that professor, right? That's what they used to call him. And we need health care for everybody. Why should I have to go up to the hill and mix and mingle with these guys? Remember what I said? The downside is I don't want to get too close. I love my fellow man. Right? I want everybody to have health care. Very Aquarian. But I don't want to get dirty and come down off the pedestal and have to go interact with all those congressional people to do it. It's such an Aquarian way of functioning. And, I was cracked up. I'm like, yeah, well, he's still a little bit too much in the South Node. Did he stand out? Did he put his personal stamp on things? Was he moving into that North Node? He's still a very young man. Yeah, he took really big steps to do that. I don't think he would have had the courage to even run as the first African-American president if he didn't have a lot of Leo, already developed in his chart. But he still has a lot of that Aquarius that's leaving behind. When we move into the North Node in Virgo, the worker bee, ruled by Vesta, one of the biggest things you could do if your North Node is in Virgo is just develop some common sense, right? Just develop a sense of practicality, right? Develop a sense of your body and your health and taking care of it. Getting a sense of what it takes. Again, this is a very earth thing. What it takes to work and feed the body. I got to go to work, right? I've got to do something in the physical. It's similar because like Taurus is an earth sign, so is Virgo. It's sort of a grounding energy. So, okay, my perfect description of a Virgo is like a madman era secretary. Yep, they know their domain. They have good control over everything that's around them. They're very physically, always with the perfect dress, very health conscious, eating salads at lunch kind of thing. That is sort of the stereotypical Virgo, someone who has common sense control over the nitty-gritty practical aspects of life, because what you're coming from is Pisces. And Pisces loves living in spirit, right? Pisces vibrates to the 12th house, which is the house that connects us to God and the source and the universe. So this sense of, I don't want to be here in the physical in any way, shape, or form is something that often follows someone with a Pisces South Node. There's a sense of ennui. Oh God, this physical existence. I have a Pisces South Node friend who says, oh, this damn spacesuit. You got to feed it. You got to brush its teeth. You got to exercise it. This is like really difficult because they want to be in spirit, right? There's a sense too, because Pisces are the old souls of the universe, that, it's often said they know what it's like in spirit. So they pile a ton of karma on themselves in this lifetime so they can not stay here too long and get back to physical. So there's a sense of martyrdom. There's a sense of escapism. There can be a very strong sense of drug or alcohol abuse with someone deeply in Pisces. There's this sense of, oh God, confusion. People say Pisces, Gemini is the only sign of twins. Look at the glyph for Pisces. Pisces is the two fish, one swimming up, one swimming down. They they don't know. They're like stuck here on earth, but I want to get back to spirit. So part of me has to be grounded because I have no choice, but I know what's up there. So there's this sense of being lost in spirit, lost in unreality. And that's why someone needing to go into Virgo is, I feed the body, I work the body, I have this body, I have to go to work, I have to meet practical concessions of life. Now, with someone with North Node in Libra, ruled by Venus, and see, now this is where we tip, because this is the 7th sign. And so we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now the 7th, we're above the horizon again, and we're going this way. So if your North Node is in Libra, you're coming from a South Node in Aries. And remember, we started with Aries. Libra is the 7th sign, Aries is the 1st. So now, if your North Node is in Libra, you're leaving behind the negative of Aries. So someone with a North Node of Libra has to learn this general receptivity, grace, balance. Because remember what Aries is, right? Aries in its negative is me. I don't need to hear your side of the story. I'm going to do exactly what I want. I've got this myopic version. I don't care. You don't like me? I don't care. I have no socialization skills if I'm really bad in Aries. I don't care for, receptivity, socialization, creativity. Please leave me alone. It's like the ultimate male versus the ultimate female. And I don't mean boy, girl. I mean the archetypal energy. Because Libra, you're having to learn we. You're leaving behind the me of Aries and you're learning me. So what are you leaving behind? That self-centric, that pugilistic, that impatient, that bossy, that me-centered energy that a negative Aries will be. So remember, you will never experience the really bad aspects of the North Node. You will get the good of the North Node. And you need to leave behind the negatives of your South. In fact, I have, when I do a chart, I have a series of 10 questions I ask everyone, depending on what their South Node is, so that you can judge and say, yeah, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. This is, yes, I'm saying yes to this. So this shows how much I am in my South Node. It's sort of a self-judging test, if you will. Now I used for Libra here, Bob Dylan. I said sort of here. Bob Dylan is coming from a Pisces South Node in the 3rd house, right? So Pisces connecting to source, very artistic, right? Very, very creative. So he's got that, but his going to Virgo 9, you have to deal with the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the nitty gritty of 9th house, which is publishing and broadcasting, getting your word out. It's interesting that he's got a retrograded Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces. It's retrograded right next to his North Node. So he's having to really work through a lot of Pisces issues. And I could just remember, it was a while ago, he won, I think, the Nobel Prize, and he didn't show up. And people were quite furious at that. Like, how dare he? This is an honor. Pisces is like, I don't have to deal with that stuff. He's still got, that sense of escape of not worrying about the nitty gritty, but he's done pretty well with the good aspects that he's gotten from his South Node. Now, if your North Node is in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto, what are you leaving behind? Taurus, right? Because now we've already done Taurus. Now we're seeing the opposite sign. So because Scorpio is so connected with the other side, right? You have psychic abilities that you need to develop, sensual abilities. Remember, what is Taurus? Epicures, work, resources, right? Very grounded, very almost myopic in some ways with keeping their head to the ground, right? The bull. what you have to do is say, I'm leaving that behind. I need to develop a sense of the sensual, of the vivacity of life. And I need to pick my head up once in a while and to see, oh, you know, there's more to this planet than Earth. We might have a physical side. And I gotta tell you, a lot of North Node Scorpio people, like, oh, astrology, oh, religion, oh, come on, because they can't see it, touch it, feel it. And it's getting into that see, touch, feel aspect of the other side of what is not physical. That is the trick with Taurus. And as I say here, what do they have to leave behind? That Taurus stubbornness. I'm just going to keep my head down. I'm not going to listen to you. The extravagance that could come with Taurus, that sense of gluttony that could come with Taurus. I'm worried only about my resources. That's it. That refusal, as I say, to leave the ground. I'm staying here. You know, I know the physical. So then we go to Sag, right? Now we're up in the 9th house. We're almost around the chart. If your North Node is in Sag, ruled by Jupiter, your South Node will be in the opposite sign, Gemini. So remember when I talked about Gemini, I said, you know, you got to leave behind the negative of Sag, which is, I know, right? But if you're going toward Gemini, you want the positives of Sag. I am going to be a seeker of truth. I want to learn, right? Because Gemini has lived experiences of a little bit of information there, a little bit of information there, blah, blah, blah. And now you're saying, no, I need to develop my philosophy of life. I need to study. I want to find something I can feel, right? I could be a world traveler. I could travel on the internet, right? The internet is now a very 9th house Sagittarian thing. I want to know the great issues. I want to get into the bigger picture, right? I was very good here in Gemini, but now I got to say, I need to be a little more mentally directed, because you're leaving behind the negative aspects of Gemini, the mental jack of all trades, the prevaricator. Remember, Gemini is the twins. I got a little bit of information there, could pass it along to you, could get that information over there. I could speak out of 4 sides of my mouth if I have to, because all I'm worried about is taking information and moving it around. I'm intellectually scattered. I can be very nervous and high strung because I always got to keep moving, and I'm an air sign, and the air likes to keep moving. Whew. So this commitment to movement, to knowing a little bit about a lot of things, is what you need to leave behind if you're going to Sagittarius. The willingness to say, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to read a book, I'm going to take all this information in, you know, I'm going to understand something, I'm going to develop a philosophy that I'm not going to change, or I may grow with it, but I'm not like too scattered. It's sit down, focus on your knowledge and your growth and your philosophy and your belief. Now, if your North Node is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, what you need to start learning is this sense of ambition, right? Cancer leads with the emotions, right? So we know that if you have a Cancer North Node, you have to get into those emotions. But if you have a Cancer South Node, meaning North Node in Capricorn, it's enough time dealing with the emotions. You need to be conscientious. You need to sort of do this movement from mommy to daddy. I need to be reliable. I need to be self-directed. I need to have self-authority. I need to, you know, make money. I need to worry about my retirement. I need to, you know, be a good citizen. I need to stop being so flighty and say, oh, my emotions want me to do this and my emotions want me to do that. Like, grow up is basically what this is, because again, you're leaving behind this highly emotional, sometimes the inability to face life's responsibility, this living in my own little happy place, this very emotional, immature sense of it'll all work out, you know, and this again, living too much on feelings and not on, all right, let's be practical here. You know, you're not going to eat your feelings when you're 80 years old. You need a retirement account, that kind of thing. Now, pardon me, with your North Node in Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, you are going away from Leo and you're moving to Aquarius. Aquarians are revolutionary. They're innovative. They're rebellious. They're smart. They're free-spirited. They don't want to stand out. Remember when I said the Leo has to learn how to stand out because they're coming from Aquarius? Aquarians have done the Leo thing. What you need to do is mesh into the others. Develop this sense of kumbaya, the sense of I can dedicate myself to something bigger than me. I can be involved in something. It's not all about me anymore. My standing out, my spotlight, I've done that. Now I could bring innovation and ideas in sort of a group modality. Because what you're leaving behind are the negatives of Leo: self-centeredness, haughtiness, demandingness. I'm the lion. I'm the king, right? They don't have a whole lot of critical thinking because their thinking is, what's good for me? Take care of me. I'm the lion, right? So you see where coming from the South, you will more than likely have the negative aspects of that sign. And I love using this chart on Frank Sinatra because he was, not shockingly to anyone, South Node Leo in the 10th house. Next to Neptune, although retrograded, I think that certainly helped his creativity. But the sense of, I am the king, right? 10th house, I'm the ruler. I'm the one that you must all pay attention to, right? I'm the king of my domain. Well, he certainly had a lot of that. But if you read the story of him, he did have a lot of Aquarius. He in the 50s, bought a house in his name and then sold it for like $2 to Sammy Davis because Sammy Davis Jr. was not allowed in this community because he was Black, right? It was this rich Hollywood community. He had been known to stop rehearsals and whatever if he looked around and there were not enough Black musicians, right? He did have a sense for Aquarius. Now, unfortunately, later in his life, he reverted back to, you know, I'm the boss, I'm the king. He became much more conservative. But that's why I say, you know, baby steps. We all don't get into our nodes in one fell swoop, right? It's baby steps. And then, of course, if you're going into Pisces, which is ruled by Neptune, what you're developing is your sense of spirituality, compassion, humanitarianism, this sense that there is something bigger. Why? Because you're coming from Virgo, right? So Pisces needs to be aware of the bigger dimension because Virgo is master of their domain, right? Virgo, focus, that 50s secretary, if you will. You're leaving behind the negatives of Virgo. Overwork, nose to the ground, self-deprecating, never looking beyond your work area. Virgos can also be victims. Right? Oh, I'll take it. I'll suffer. Don't worry. You know, I'll take on the work. I'll be Cinderella. So it's sort of leaving that behind and moving into a larger sense. Oh, there's a bigger world. There's feelings. There's emotions. There's this sense of I could trust the universe. I always say to my Virgo people, do you feel you need to jump? You know, think about it. If you jump, you might just find that support system because you have to trust that there's something beyond your desk, if you will. So I will do chart analysis. I do a 60 to 90 minute audio. You get the full scope, right? North, South Node, all your other planets. It is a full interpretation of them. If you have any questions, there's my email. And I do other charts. I will do family charts. If you want a family karma chart, want to discover group chart karma, this is something that what it'll look like. I put a mother and daughter together, and then I read that chart as one chart. So I hope you enjoyed this little journey, and I hope that you will find this beneficial. And if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.